Thank you, man.
No_step_on_sync donated $199. If a guy drinks and then makes the decision to drive and gets a DUI, regrets it, is he responsible for the DUI and or wreck, or should he not be responsible cause he was too drunk to consent?
Yeah, it doesn't compare.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer it, though?
It's not even a valid comparison because it's just involving himself. There's no other party.
Okay. Do you want to answer it, though, or?
So he chose to get drunk. He has a DUI. I mean, if the girl got drunk and she got DUI, it's still her DUI.
Well, in the instance, he got a wreck. So just to steelman the super chat, let's say somebody else was involved and hurt, and there was a wreck.
Sorry, I can't.
Would that be... the super chatter's trying to make the point about responsibility, the thing that I mentioned earlier about being in the situation and then consenting and taking all those drinks. He's highlighting, obviously, extreme example. Well, let's say a man is inebriated, drives, and actually wrecks into somebody, alters their life or causes harm to them. If he can't consent, just like a woman says she can't consent when she's inebriated, is it the same thing? I think that's the steelman position of what he's trying to say.
But he's still the one committing an act towards the other person, so it's still not a valid example.
Okay. I'm just trying to steelman what the super chatter. I'm not here to defend.
I mean, it's like saying, so what? So women should never be allowed to get drunk at a party, period.
Wait, can I ask a question on this? And I actually don't know what let's say that there's a woman who, and I don't drink, so I'm not really familiar. I've never been like blackout drunk, but isn't it possible that you could be blackout drunk but come across externally lucid?
Yes.
Yes.
Like you would, like somebody might
blackout.
not know that you're blacked out.
Not that
Yeah,
you're
that I
interacting
experienced
with
that.
them.
Yeah. But so arguably though, like from their perspective, you come across as just any other like normally drunk person. But under your guys' definition, this guy has just committed a rape. Is that correct? If he has sex with her? But he doesn't know that she's incapacitated. And she doesn't indicate to him in any way while she's blackout drunk, like she's moving around and I mean, you know how people are when they're drunk, right?
This exact situation has happened to me, and I woke up the next day and was like, well, I maybe shouldn't have put myself kind of... It's like a half and half thing in that situation, because I'm like, I must have in that moment said yes, and I regretted it, highly regretted it, and felt depressed about it. But like, do I need to go ruin that guy's life because I gave him full consent because I look like... I am the kind of person, if I get blackout drunk, which I don't tend to do that often, but if I do it, I look completely normal and I like act normal.
But like under your sense of what constitutes that crime, has a rape occurred?
But that wasn't the example I was giving.
I'm giving you this example.
I'm saying that it can be like, if she gave consent and was blacked out, that's something where she's got to talk to a therapist and she's got to figure that out. But I don't think he should be accused of rape if she gave full consent while she was blackout drunk.
But you would argue that a rape did occur or didn't?
I'm saying if she verbally had told him something that gave him the impression of consent.
She was very enthusiastically having sex with him.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So,
but he was not aware of her level of incapacitation. She appeared to be normally drunk.
Right. So he wasn't intentionally committing that against her will then, and that's not rape. Because the men who, if she's knocked out or she did not give you consent, or she's blackout drunk and still hasn't given you consent, you shouldn't be assuming anything and taking opportunity.
Okay, but
I think that's just safer for everybody.
But what if that woman could wake up and, similar to what Lucy said, just be like, oopsie, or she could wake up and be like, what the fuck am I doing here? I don't remember anything. I was raped. Was she raped?
I think it again goes to the consent, because if he,
let's assume that
if he's ignoring like the telltale signs that, oh, she's not able to tell me yes, or she's severely
with
incapacitated.
her example, she says that she's fairly lucid when she gets that way. So just using her as the example, obviously not her specifically, but that example,
Right.
and say that she is lucid and she maybe signals consent, and the guy doesn't know that she's totally blackout, not going to remember any of this. Is he guilty of grape?
Signals consent.
I think it's
mean,
case
that's
by
what-
case basis, honestly, because I'm aware that that happens to me. Like, I'm aware that I get blackout and I seem totally normal to the or not normal, but like a normal drunk to the person that I'm talking to. Like, I'm aware that that happens to me because it like runs in my family. We're all kind of like, we can hold down our liquor. I'm Irish, but so we're kind of I'm just like that. But so it's happened, more than once, and I haven't, gone to the police. Like, even the first time it happened, like, I didn't go to the police the next day. It was just shitty. Like, it's just shitty you regret it. It's like deep regret, and you just never talk about that guy again, or you tell your friends like, hey, this happened with this guy, but like to go to the police, I think it's just a case by case basis. If a girl doesn't realize how she gets when she gets drunk, and let's say she's like 18, 19, or whatever age she starts drinking, and she has no idea how she's going to get when she gets drunk, and she's unaware of how she is when she's drunk, then that would be considered grape, because she's unaware. I'm hyper aware of how I get when I get drunk. So who am I to go and ruin a guy's life? Like, that is just a fucked up situation.
But couldn't it be plausible that, when people go off to college, many of these people like didn't drink or didn't drink very much. At college, people go out, they binge drink quite heavily. Both men get super drunk, women get super drunk. I mean, people perhaps do things that they wouldn't have done when they're sober, but I can definitely envision scenarios where maybe the guy got more drunk, the guy was blackout, and the girl was like, she was there. She had a fucking White Claw, and the dude's like 10 shots deep or something. Like, is that, I mean, let's say he's not passed out, but he's like drunk. Is that, I don't know.
Are you saying like, is she now?
Did she grape him? I don't know.
Yeah. Because did he give her consent?
Yeah, well, isn't the argument though, once you're past a certain threshold, you can't consent?
Right. So then it's still grape.
It's just such a gray area. It's just like case by case, really.
That's why people shouldn't be having sex. Like, if they're too drunk, like that shouldn't even be a thing. Like, men shouldn't be having sex, or girls.
It's such a touchy subject too. I'm gonna look at my phone and have like all this.
I don't go to bars.
Comments.
I don't go to clubs. I don't be drinking like that, and I don't want my girl drinking like that either. But okay, we have some chats we got to get through. By the way, guys, I just lowered it. We're going to do $69 TTS. If you want to get a roast and roast the panel, boys, we have some chats. We have
Please.
Pasty George.
Let them loose.
Oh my God, why is it never want to? Okay. Chair 2, Andrew Wilson and Rachel Wilson are awesome people. They would roast you and turn you into a full course buffet. Andrew Wilson never said grape is acceptable. Stop slandering him, pork
chop is so funny. Thank you for that.
All I can say is Andrew released a video on that explaining the fuller context. If you want to
love you, Andrew.
If you want to get, his side of it.
Yeah.
But he was definitely not making an advocation or anything like that, like saying it was okay. Mm-hmm. Even though Chair 3 said Phoenix in her intro and has now changed to Tucson, Base Thor and I have consulted with our Tucson contacts and they don't claim her either. Disavow.
I don't care.
What is this?
She doesn't care. All right, we have
like, what are you
Pasty.
gonna do?
Thank you, Desert. Thank you, Desert George. Appreciate it, brother. We have, who is it? It's so amusing and ironic when feministic influenced women argue that women in the world are getting unalived by men each year, yet the number of abortions per year exceeds femicide worldwide. Lol.
True.
Yeah.
Damn.
Facts.
Damn, that's crazy.
I don't think it's feministic which, by the way, do you even know the definition of feminism?
Do I?
Which wave?
What are you talking about?
Which wave of feminism? There's first wave, second wave,
No,
third
like
wave.
the actual definition of the word.
Well, it depends on which wave, the context, and how it's defined. Third wave and fourth wave feminism are a little bit different than first wave feminism.
Do you want my definition of it?
I have enough like storage.
I don't.
I'm begging.
I'll give
too
you
big
the
of a word
charitable
for him.
definition and my definition. The charitable definition it is a woman's advocacy movement at best. At worst, it's that plus
Hatred of
massive hatred of men, misandry, and actually a movement towards what's the right word for this? Female supremacy, even. Yeah.
Matriarchy?
Gynocentrism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Rollo uses, gynocentrism.
Faux show.
I'm not gonna go down my rabbit hole. It's okay.
You do not want to go down that rabbit hole.
I don't.
No, I'm
Oh.
warning her.
I've been up like
Do you,
a long
let me
fucking
ask you,
time.
what do you tell me what your definition of feminism
She's
is?
sleep deprived.
Yeah, I'm majorly.
I'm exhausted.
As of 8 a.m., I'll be up
She was-
48
she was
hours.
up last-
Okay.
Jeez.
Damn.
She drove in from.
I drove
from
here
Phoenix
from
to do
Arizona.
Wait,
this
but what's your definition of feminism?
It's the advocacy for equal rights of women. Why is that supposed to be a negative term?
What rights do women not have that men have right now?
Are there male sex slaves in the world right now?
I'm sure there
that
are.
are not children,
I'm sure there are.
I want one.
There's not any that exist in the whole world.
dude.
There's
Let's
no
not
men,
get
there's
into
no
these
men that are sex
statistics.
slaves
Let's
in the
not
whole
get into
world.
these
I'm trying not to be here
statistics.
for 7 hours.
I'm just kidding.
Go Google it and come back.
I guarantee you there's men that are sex slaves in the world that exist.
I like how you want to look at the 5 and then there'll be like 95.
Wait, but
I'm not saying that. You said there were none that exist. I'm saying I guarantee you that there's
But
some
I'm saying
exist.
like, how is that?
But how
equal?
is that related to rights? Rights are granted by the government. What rights do women not have that men have?
My goodness. So you don't think women should have the right to live freely and not be sex slaves?
Well, of course, nobody deserves to be a slave. But
Right.
what right? How
Right.
is that related to
Hold on,
government
what,
rights?
What government allows sexual slavery? Can you tell me which nation?
Which one doesn't? What are you talking about?
Well, America has legalized female sex slaves.
Oh my God, no! I'm not saying that they've legalized. I'm saying obviously this stuff happens. And
But
I'm
that doesn't.
saying-
That's not a right. Rights are granted by the government.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
How about
you
a
have-
Western country? Can
so you
tell
have
us,
a right to.
can
You
tell
have a
us
right to
one-
live, right?
Tell us one.
Who gives you that
hold on,
right
no,
to
no.
live? The government.
Tell us one Western country where sex slavery is legal.
I like how you had to make sure you said Western
Well, I like
country.
no. You're doing the exact same thing you think you're accusing me of. Every time we push back on your feminist worldview, you want to be like, well, in South Sudan, the fucking bro.
So the rest of the world doesn't matter.
Okay, I don't know about the happenings of feminism in Eritrea. I don't know
Exactly.
about feminism
Exactly.
in Ghana.
But that's my
Let's
point.
talk about.
I'm here to
we
raise
live in a Western country. We
awareness.
live in the United
Yeah.
States. Let's
Oh my goodness.
let's at least talk about the West.
Yeah.
But let's preferably talk about the United States.
Let's say this. Let's say you have a daughter in the future.
Sure.
And she wants to travel the world. Are you gonna feel okay that she is safe to travel around the world by herself?
I wouldn't let
would
my
not
daughter do
send
that.
my
Exactly,
daughter
why?
or my son.
Because I believe that she needs to be accompanied by a man.
And
Because,
why is that?
Because the rest of the world doesn't share my values.
Okay, exactly. Now, if it was your son, would you say the same thing?
I would still prefer him to be with a group of people. But
Wait,
even then,
but
at least
could
a man
he travel
can.
the world alone?
You know what's funny is she has this sort of xenophobia towards these like Eastern countries or these third world countries, but she's totally in favor of allowing their immigrants to come to our civilized Western country. How
No,
do you
don't put words in my
reconcile?
mouth. That's
How
not
do
what I
you
said.
reconcile always like deferring to this argument of, well, what about in fucking Somalia? There's not feminism in Somalia, but you're like, well, I think it's okay if we just have open borders and like all their immigrants can come into the United States.
When did I say that?
You literally said you're okay with
No,
the
I did
legal-
not. You're putting words in
Really?
my mouth. I did not. I promise you.
Feminism has given every
whatever.
modern civilization a lack of a replacement rate regarding birth. So almost every civilization which feminism has become somewhat normalized they're not even at replacement rate, which is like 2.1 children per woman.
But why do you blame it on feminism necessarily?
Because it's totally shifted the relationship dynamics and the way that women perceive themselves and men, and what's the point of us getting together in the first place? And then the idea that you don't want to have a child because of your career or money or the different things, and that now you have your child's a fur baby. Like this is all types of things. This is feminism seeking
It could
into.
be other things. Like, for example, when we used to live like agrarian societies, then children were an economic asset because
Sure.
you needed people to work on your farm. But as we shifted to industrialized societies, like
So industrialized
different.
societies were below replacement rate because we weren't.
Not at the beginning.
What are your pronouns, by the way?
My pronouns are zer, them.
Nice.
I am transracial
Zer,
and
them.
transageist.
What race do you identify as?
I identify as black.
Sorry.
You identify as a black woman, right?
Yeah.
I could
No,
see
I'm
that.
not a woman. I'm non-binary.
Oh, sorry, non-binary, black,
Yeah.
trans-ageist, or whatever. What is
And
it?
I'm also neurodivergent.
Well, we got that before you put the costume on. Just kidding. All right. How did we get back to? I don't know how we got back here. Where
It's a long,
we
winding
were
road
reading a
we're on,
chat or
right?
something. It's a
I'm
long,
scared
winding
for
road.
the next
We got some
I was
guys.
in a debate team at my private Christian high school.
Oh
so
shit! You should get refunds. Just kidding. I'm kidding. You've been doing great. I love you.
No, you don't.
I love you. You're wonderful.
Wow.
Not in,
It's a strong word.
yeah, it's love. It's all love. It's all love. We're just having a little conversation.
Not the internet, though. The internet's not all love.
All right, I've got Snapchat. Brian, been watching the podcast for the last 8 months and going through videos from most recent. Told us, looks like you're finally losing weight. Nah, bro, it stayed the same. I think I gained 2 pounds actually. So shit. I got. It's coming off though. It's coming off. Chloe's my personal trainer. Anubis Reloaded. She was wrong about the case. He was. The Brock Turner. That was okay. He was charged with the crime and convicted, but his sentence was light.
He was still allowed to graduate too.
Okay.
Oh, I remember this one now.
Yes.
I recognize the name.
Thank you, Anubis, for that. Thank you for the super chats, guys. Guys, $69 TTS. I've lowered it here at the end of the stream if you guys want to get one in. So we have Inquisitor Zeal. Boom. Thank you, man.
Inquisitor Zeal donated $69. Chair 3 said everyone being safe is a reasonable request. It's actually entirely unreasonable and divorced from reality. Nobody owes you safety. And no, there's no right to live. Delusional.
I didn't realize the government could decide if we live or die.
Well, I mean, couldn't they, though? Like, let's say there was, look at Cambodia, for example, or, there's been a lot of dictatorships. The government can take away your rights.
Yeah, but you were talking about the U.S.
Right. Even in the U.S., it's conceivable that a government could come into power that could take away your rights. And by the
They
way, I'm
won't.
speaking descriptively. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that should be the case. But you would agree that it's logically possible that in the United States, a government could come to power that stripped back people's rights.
Yeah.
It's possible. So do rights actually exist, is the question you have to ask yourself.
Right.
But just
So
because you
none of
can
us
take
have
it
the right
away
to live.
doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
But it's
Well-
it's a mental fictition that's granted by the social consensus regarding the government. So that's where, again, the argument's made about duties versus rights. Rights are granted by the government. As people made in the image of God, we have duties. And Andrew talks a lot about this and uses this as a point to differentiate between how we engage in society, and that men and women should have duties and responsibilities because responsibility comes with duty. And the idea that women, feminism, can live in a world that men created without any responsibility or duty to the collective. Right, you guys, when we now we're in apparently a war with Iran, you guys aren't going to be conscripted to go to the front line, but men have that obligation,
Nobody's
and that's
getting conscripted.
it's a hypothetical. I'm not saying that Trump is using the draft right now, but I'm saying in that instance, men have a duty to society that is we all have socially granted. What duty do women have to society?
I volunteer as tribute.
Well, we have children.
Do they? Because it doesn't seem like they are.
I
I mean,
have
we're
4.
totally below replacement rate. I know. Well, good for you, and I think that's fantastic. And you're married, and you've been married for a long time, and you have 4 children. You have contributed more to society than the vast majority of women because of that.
Without women, we wouldn't have Wi-Fi. Do you realize that?
Oh, my God.
Anyway, all right, whatever.
This girl is killing me.
I am my mother's daughter. Okay.
Wait, you do realize though, without men, y'all would still be living in caves and like teepees and shit?
Without women, humanity wouldn't exist.
Okay, well, okay, now we're getting to like...
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it would be the same for men. If there weren't any men, you wouldn't
Actually,
be able
no,
to
they
reproduce.
just started making children
Okay, but
out
if
of
historically
her
there were...
bone
Oh
marrow.
my God, what the... If all men disappeared like today, that'd be the
my
end of the
God.
species.
I would hate life.
Probably.
The world would be
It's
a better
actually
place.
women who invented everything. That's my character.
There we go. Okay. It's her character. It's her character. Don't let her bait you. Okay, finishing up
almost
the
got me.
notes. Finishing up the notes. We have Shula. I should have done this before you put your costume on because
No, it will sound totally weird.
it's all good. Okay. You said your husband was on a blind date. Oh, this is about your husband?
Yeah, it's a story about my husband.
Okay, the girl was very disrespectful, ignoring him, texting on her phone. Then she ordered the most expensive thing on the menu and had it packed to go home, and she just left. Oh, that's fucked up. Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Let's see.
That's crazy.
You said that.
He was so shocked.
She was just hungry. It was not me, okay? It was not me.
Chloe, scoot in a little bit. You said dating for the sake of dating is bad, especially for women. You should only date for marriage. Okay.
Yeah, if I do it wearing this, it will sound really weird. Okay. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, that's what I believe. And I am religious. I'm Jewish Orthodox. So that's what I did for myself. Like, I only dated for marriage. And, that's why we dated for such short period of time. Because, like, you're not supposed to live with the person that you're dating. And you're not even supposed to touch because touching is a distraction. So, like, we didn't touch the whole time. And that's how we got married. Yeah.
You said there's like matchmakers involved. There's no socializing between men and women.
That's a different kind of society. That's not the society that I was part of. But I mean, I could talk about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So you never did anything like oral or like
What the fuck?
any like
What?
other before? Like she said, dating before you didn't touch or anything. She said that.
You didn't kiss him until you married him?
No.
Girl, good
Yeah.
for you.
But look, they're still married.
That is no, I'm not
Yeah.
hating on that. I love that's your journey.
that's cool.
I respect it. I adore it.
She got married
Love
young.
that. Not my
Still
journey, but I
married,
respect your journey.
Still
Oh,
married.
thank
4
you.
children.
Thank you.
Like I think that's amazing that you can like only.
But that's because she comes from a community that's very insulated, and they
Yeah.
date within their community. So I'm sure like her community, her parents were involved in choosing the partner and going through a process to confirm. Because again, the whole point is long-term marriage and children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you touch the other person, like it's a distraction because then you don't see the whole person. You don't see like their personality. You don't think like, oh, is he going to be the right husband for me or the right father for my children? So, and it works. So,
How long were you with him before you got married?
3 months.
3 months before you got married?
Huh?
Oh, okay. So you weren't waiting that long before you get to.
Yeah. That's why marriages happen quickly because if you wait for too long, then
Got it.
you might be tempted to do things you're
Got
not supposed to do.
We have 3 chats. Shula, you said red pill is just as toxic as feminism.
Yeah, I just
Just as?
Yeah, because I'm an ex, and it's just like the number of men who are angry and lonely and they hate women is just insane.
Into the mic. Into the mic.
Yeah, the number of men who are like lonely and angry and they hate women is just
move your
insane.
big head, bro. Hey, put Chloe, put the mic at the edge of the table.
My back is hurting. Like
You want-
this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so by red pill, I mean people like Andrew Tate, like Nick Fuentes, and I think they influence men in a really bad way.
But I mean,
I wouldn't consider Nick Fuentes red pill per se. Maybe politically, but are you meaning more like the manosphere type
Yeah,
stuff?
manosphere. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I
I
meant,
wouldn't
yeah.
consider Nick Fuentes part of that. But I also wouldn't consider the manosphere, the red pill, causing men to be angry at women. And the red pill manosphere generally is not MGTOW, which is men going their own way, where they totally want to disavow women totally. So I think there's a lot of useful stuff that the manosphere talks about, and on a descriptive level, I agree with a lot of it as a traditional Christian. On a prescriptive level, meaning what we should do based on the way that society is, I differ quite drastically from the manosphere, because I'm going to return back to tradition and religion as opposed to some of the remedies that they recommend.
Right. So I understand that like feminism is toxic and it's caused a lot of this, but like they're doing the reverse and it's really toxic, just as toxic. Like because like feminists,
I wouldn't say it's just as toxic.
Yeah, because feminists blame men for everything and they demonize men, and the manosphere people, they do the same to women. And
But okay, let's go ahead and
just as
grant.
bad.
I disagree, but let's grant for the sake of argument, like let's say yes, red pill is mirror opposite of feminism. But when you say just as bad as, can it ever be the case that like the handful of like somewhat influential red pill creators have nearly the amount of reach and institutional power that feminism has?
No.
Oh, but I'm saying in the future, like I can see it being like.
I'm sorry, they're not going to teach red pill in college.
Well, it's a lot. I mean, it's just starting. Feminism didn't start like being really big.
So, again, I disagree with your assessment, but even granting that like they're kind of just like the ideology is bad, but you agree that some ideologies have more reach and influence than others?
Yeah, but some ideologies start off small, but they have the potential to expand.
I mean, sure, is it possible? I don't think it's probable. Realistically, though, currently, there's no way that you can actually make the claim that red pill is as bad as feminism.
Okay, but like look for example at what Andrew Tate is saying. Like he's saying, I have like 100 kids. To be a really powerful man, you have you have to like sleep with all these women. You get them pregnant. You move on to another woman. Like it's not toxic to say.
I mean, it might be better than the anti-natalist position of feminism, which is don't have children. Right. Focus on your career. Or put off children, or don't have children. I don't necessarily agree with polygamy, but I think that might be better than the anti-natalism of feminism.
No, but they say that feminism led to promiscuity, and feminism destroyed the family. Like you practice like what Andrew Tate is saying, the result is promiscuity, and the result is like, there is no family. If you have 100 kids, you can't take care of your kids. You can't be a father. So the result is also fatherlessness, right? So I see this as being potentially very, very damaging.
Sure, but I don't think, again, Andrew Tate or anybody who advocates the same things as Andrew Tate has nearly the level of influence that feminism does.
It's growing. That's what I'm saying. Like it's growing.
No, Andrew Tate has been deplatformed since like 2022, 2023. Yep. His influence has waned substantially. He's been look, I don't know the truth of his criminal cases or whatever that are currently pending. There's some disputes as to whether it's sort of there's a political component there. But he's been attacked by the Matrix. He's lost vast amounts of his influence. And all the platforms, he's been deplatformed.
But he's got like millions of followers on X. Like he's posted something.
And sorry, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, he posts something like the next second he's got like thousands of likes and views.
Right, and feminism is taught at every single college in this. Feminism is taught at every single university and college in this country. There's thousands and thousands of universities and colleges across the United States. They have millions or billions of dollar endowments. That is power. It's systemic. It's institutional power. And it's not just the university system. You look at media, you look at journalism, you look at news, you look at corporations, you look at governments, not just the federal level, but you can look at, the county, the city, whatever smaller jurisdictions there are. Feminism is so entrenched and steeped in all these levels of society. To say that red pill ideology, which is like completely and is completely small and insignificant in comparison to the power that feminism has across institutions.
Right, but like I see it as a tidal wave. You know, it's coming and it's growing and it's growing. So I'm not saying that feminism doesn't have more power. Of course it does.
Would you prefer red pill or feminism?
I think they're both toxic.
If you had to
and
pick one.
awful. No,
If you had to pick
the
one.
reason I created this character is because I don't like extremes. You know, when extremes.
If you had to pick one.
I would move to another planet.
You had to pick one.
Seriously. No, I'm not. I can't. No.
Okay. Well, I mean, you could, but
I just think they're mirror images of each other, and they're both just awful.
okay, but I disagree. I don't think that, like Patrick was saying, as it relates to some of the prescriptions of the red pill, and the red pill, like what exactly is that? It's kind of
It's hard to define it, but like
But-
I think
but
you
gen-
know what I mean.
But some of the things, I mean, generally speaking, the red pill is talking about we live in a gynocentric world order. I mean, that's true. Divorce courts are totally lined against men and are robbing men from paternity and access to their children. That's also true. Hypergamy, that it's very difficult for men to find women that won't like level up at the first opportunity that they have. That's also true. So there's a lot of things within the red pill that are very much true,
Right.
just about the state of the world. And I may have my own differences with Andrew Tate regarding polygamy or how he does his own lifestyle and family organization, but most of his content is really getting young men to desire to become the best version of themselves. And I think if we want a more stable and less of a crime-ridden society, men, especially young men, becoming the best version of themselves is the best thing that's for everybody at this table, and it's going to make everybody at this table more safe.
No, but he's trying to make men in his own image, and that's not a good image for men.
Oh, I agree that your masculinity is not defined by your Bugatti and stuff like that. And I think if he was pressed, he would also agree with that. That's just part of his bravado and like his persona and his online image. And that's where, again, in regards to the prescriptions, yeah, I would totally disagree. But I think the red pill is a necessary antidote and counterweight to feminism. Just to try to level the spectrum and give young men the opportunity to re-envision and perceive the world in a correct way so that they can navigate it correctly, because there's a lot of odds that are stacked against young men. Like this whole idea about we live in a patriarchy and men are privileged, like it's just not the case.
Right.
Young men, especially white Christian men in America, are the most demonized, and they have no privilege. Like what privilege does let's say he comes from a lower middle class, white Christian male, what privilege does he have in this society?
Yeah, no,
None.
I get that, but like there are a lot of things in the red pill
Yeah.
that overlap with like your general, conservative ideas, and that's fine. I'm not disputing that. I'm disputing all these different like radical ideas that exist in the red pill.
Fair enough. Yeah, and I would disagree with those prescriptions as well.
Yeah.